Good evening, everyone. Hope I'm audible to everyone. Please raise your hands if I'm audible. Thank you for your responses. Yes, I am audible. Thank you. Thank you. So, before we begin this session, let me introduce myself for all of you who are seeing me for the first time. My name is Samkith Banthia, and I'm an instructor at Edusure. I coach math, statistics, microeconomics at Edusure, and I'm an alumnus of ISI. Okay, so today's session is an extremely important and extremely close to my heart. The reason is I'm a passer of ISI, and today is a session to aid all the students to the best of our ability in order to make it to ISI. Okay, so please put in your doubts and your questions in the chat in YouTube. I'll be happy to take a look and answer them. Okay, so yes, good evening, Goldie. Good evening. Um, Good evening, Chitrak. Right. So the first doubt that I am receiving in the Zoom session itself is, sir, can you please explain the pattern of ISI paper? अच्छा चलिए ठीक है, ISI paper pattern के ऊपर थोड़ा सा बात करते हैं. So ISI is a paper which is divided into two parts. One is the first part, which is PEA, which will contain of 30 questions. This is the multiple choice part. And the other part is PEB. Okay. Out of the 30 questions, 15 questions are from math and stat. 15 questions are from economics, which is a combination of microeconomics and macroeconomics. Okay. PEB is a section where usually you'll have to attempt 4 out of 9 questions. These 9 questions are divided into 3 sections. Section A, 3 questions. Section B, 3 questions. Section C, 3 questions. This is normally the math or the stat section. This is the micro or the macro section. So if this is micro, this will be the macro section. So out of 9 questions, 3 from math and stat, 3 from micro, 3 from macro. And you need to do 4 out of them. How to attempt the 4? You need to do 1 from each section mandatorily and plus 1 from any of the 3 sections. Okay. Each question carrying 30 marks. So total marks here is 120. Total marks in the first part is also 120, as each of these 30 questions carries 4 marks. Okay, so each of these 30 questions carries 4 marks, so total is 120. Okay, what to expect? Okay, I'll come to your question, Raghav, in a moment. So this is what is the pattern. Some of you are asking me already, sir, what should be the cutoff? See, ISI, in order for your part B to be checked, you need to clear a cutoff of the part A MCQ. Okay. Last year, that is 2021, the PA cutoff was 77. Okay. And PA marks plus 2 into PB marks, cutoff was 253. Okay. Now, cutoff does not mean that you make it to ISI. Cutoff means that you are in the list for a merit list. Okay. So in 2021, they did not conduct any interviews and they just took the first 15 to 20 from the merit list. So it is a fair assumption that you had to score about 90 in the first part and about 95 in the second part in order to be a part of ISI 2021 batch. Okay, this cutoff does not guarantee you to be in the top 20. This cutoff merely means that you're in the top 65 to 70 students who form a part of the first round of merit list. Okay, so that is about the pattern, and that is about ISI cutoffs. Okay. What to expect in trade? Okay, so ISI has actually given a syllabus for the trade part. So what it says there is, for trade, the important aspects are Ricardo model, comparative advantage, absolute advantage, Adam Smith model, Heckscher-Ohlin model, and as a subpart of the Heckscher-Ohlin, Stolper-Samuelson model, Rybczynski theorem, okay, and factor price equalization theorem. So these are all a part of the Heckscher-Ohlin. So these are the two aspects which are important for trade. Raghav, I hope that I have answered your question. Give me a thumbs up if that's okay. Can you tell important areas for maths PB part? So in the maths PB part, what will give you an outlook of the important areas is by taking a look at the past papers. So if you take a look at the papers of 2019 PB sample, 2020 actual PB, and 2021 actual PB, they have had a tendency to ask you one statistic question and two math questions. Okay. In the math part, they like areas like quadratic or polynomial equations. Okay, and they like linear algebra comprising of matrices, determinants. In the statistics part, it's a fair assumption that they'll ask you question from probability distributions and estimation. Okay, so these are the important areas. इस साल क्या कट ऑफ ड्रॉप कर सकता है? See, it depends on the relative difficulty of the paper. If the paper is an easy paper, then the cutoff will increase. If the paper is a difficult one, the cutoff will decrease. आपका aim has to be to score 120, right? Your aim has to be कि I will do everything to the best of my ability. Obviously, अगर कोई भी question का मुझे सर पैर नहीं आता है, मुझे कुछ पता ही नहीं है, तो obviously then you leave it. अगर दो ऑप्शन के बीच में आपको कंफ्यूजन है, यू शुड अटेम्प्ट दैट क्वेश्चन. ठीक है. नेगेटिव मार्किंग स्कीम Srijita, let me explain what is the negative marking scheme in PEA. That is the MCQ part. 4 for every correct, every wrong answer gives you 0. तो यहाँ पर most of the students say that sir तब तो कोई negative marking नहीं है. नेगेटिव मार्किंग है क्योंकि इफ यू डू नॉट अटेम्प्ट अ क्वेश्चन यू गेट 1 मार्क, राइट? तो PA, which is the first part, total marks is 120. If you do not attempt the entire paper, पूरा पेपर मैंने ब्लैंक छोड़ दिया फिर भी मुझे 30 मिलेगा. इंटरेस्टिंग है ना? So any student getting lower than 30 means that आपने कुछ नहीं किया है. मतलब कि कुछ नहीं करते तो आपका बेटर मार्क्स आता है. ओके. ओके, एनी गुड सोर्स फॉर ट्रेड मॉडल्स? ट्रेड मॉडल्स को पढ़ने के लिए बहुत सारे सोर्सेज हैं. अभी फिलहाल लास्ट के 2 to 3 days का टाइम है. यू कैन फॉलो एनी बुक दैट यू हैव बीन फॉलोइंग एट द ग्रेजुएशन लेवल. अगर आपको कोई स्पेसिफिक बुक के बारे में जानना है, we used to follow a book called Caves, Frankel and Jones. बाकी आजकल के टाइम में Google and YouTube will be able to solve most of your queries. Okay, तो राघव वैसे आप कर सकते हैं. You're weak in linear algebra. What can you do for final brush up? अच्छा, लास्ट के 4 दिन आपके पास में है. ये 4 दिन आपको क्या करना चाहिए? लास्ट के ये few days आपको खाली पास्ट पेपर पे फोकस करना चाहिए. कुछ और जरूरी नहीं है आज अभी लास्ट फ्यू मोमेंट्स में. खाली पास्ट पेपर. लास्ट के 15 साल ऑफ ISI DSE, सॉरी ISI, लास्ट के 15 साल ऑफ ISI 4 बार आपको करने हैं. ईच एंड एवरी क्वेश्चन का ईच एंड एवरी कॉन्सेप्ट आपके दिमाग में छप जाना चाहिए. ये अगर आपने कर लिया, यू विल गेट इनटू ISI. क्योंकि द टॉपिक्स एंड द कॉन्सेप्ट्स आर वेरी सिमिलर। ठीक है, जितने टॉपिक्स आईएसआई पूछ सकता है वो सारे टॉपिक्स लास्ट के 15 साल में कवर्ड होंगे। ओके, तो ऑटोमेटिकली हो जाएगा। इंटरव्यू के बारे में बात करेंगे दक्ष, पहले एंट्रेंस तो क्लियर करें। एंट्रेंस को क्लियर करेंगे, आई विल कंडक्ट अ सेशन फॉर इंटरव्यूज फॉर ऑल द स्टूडेंट्स। तो सबसे पहले एंट्रेंस को क्लियर करिए। खाली एक चीज याद रखिए, पीबी पार्ट, दैट इज द सब्जेक्टिव पार्ट का वेटेज इन योर गेटिंग इनटू आईएसआई इज द हाईएस्ट। तो ये पार्ट बहुत अच्छे से करना है। ओके, इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक्स फॉर द माइक्रो, इंपॉर्टेंट आई एक्सपेक्ट एक तो डेफिनेटली कंज्यूमर बिहेवियर से आएगा। कंज्यूमर बिहेवियर विल इंक्लूड रिवील्ड प्रेफरेंस, इंटरटेम्पोरल, ये सब कुछ इंक्लूड करके कंज्यूमर बिहेवियर का पार्ट है। तो कंज्यूमर बिहेवियर से एक तो क्वेश्चन आएगा ही। मार्केट से आई विल एक्सपेक्ट एटलीस्ट वन, एंड जनरल इक्विलिब्रियम से एक क्वेश्चन आ सकता है। तो मार्केट, कंज्यूमर बिहेवियर एंड जनरल इक्विलिब्रियम। ओके, इसके अलावा कौन सा टॉपिक है? प्रोडक्शन एंड कॉस्ट भी है। ओके, सो माइक्रो में ऐसे ही कितने लिमिटेड हैं टॉपिक्स। ये तीनों टॉपिक, ये सारे टॉपिक्स को बहुत अच्छे से करके जाइए, दैट इज अ सजेशन। जेएनयू के लिए अलग है स्ट्रेटजी। जेएनयू के बारे में बात करेंगे आफ्टर द आईएसआई डिस्कशन। ये लेट्स पोस्टपोन इट फॉर अ लेटर टाइम। अच्छा, राम इज आस्किंग अ क्वेश्चन, आईएसआई 2009 19th क्वेश्चन। चलिए ठीक है, ISI 2009 19th question is what you're asking. You can put in your question paper doubts. I'll be happy to solve it for you. ये देखिए, ये है ISI 2009 क्वेश्चन नंबर 19। तो इफ दिस इज योर डाउट राम, तो इसको सॉल्व करते हैं। ये देखिए, y इज इक्वल टू डिटर्मिनेंट ऑफ दिस। तो y को कैसे लिखा जा सकता है? y को ऐसे लिखेंगे, यूज अ डिफरेंट कलर, ग्रीन करते हैं यूज। चलिए, if I expand this determinant from the first row, what will I get? Fx multiplied by cofactor of fx, mc minus nb minus gx, gx का कोफैक्टर को निकालेंगे lc minus an प्लस hx lb minus am। ठीक है, ये आया मेरा y। राम, आई होप यू आर सीइंग दिस। अब हमें dy by dx निकालना है। dy by dx अगर मैं निकालता हूं, आई डिफरेंशिएट दिस, तो f डैश multiplied by this minus g dash multiplied by the constant plus h dash multiplied by the constant। ठीक है, and if I put it back in the determinant format, मेरा क्या निकलेगा? f dash g dash h dash, मेरा constant तो सेम ही रहेगा, राइट? सो l a m b n c, this is what I'll get as my dy by dx। so what I did was y को पहले मैंने expand किया into the number format, उसके बाद में मैंने उसको differentiate किया and then I put it back in the determinant format। so my answer comes out to be this, the third option, that's option C। मैंने सर्कल कर दिया आंसर को। राम, इज दिस ओके? ट्रेड को डेफिनेटली करिएगा आप, ट्रेड को छोड़िएगा मत प्लीज, क्योंकि इतना ज्यादा वास्ट है नहीं सिलेबस. इट विल टेक यू मैक्सिमम 2 to 2.5 hours टू गेट द हैंग ऑफ ट्रेड. फारूक. ओके. नमिशा, आपका डाउट है 2019 क्वेश्चन नंबर 19. ISI प्रैक्टिकल ओरिएंटेड क्वेश्चंस ही पूछेगा. ओके. ISI कभी भी आपको थ्योरेटिकल क्वेश्चंस नहीं पूछता है, बहुत रेयर है वो. 2019 क्वेश्चन नंबर 19 ये है नमिशा आपका डाउट. ओके. चलिए देखते हैं. ISI 2019 PA question number 19. S1 is this. First, an integer S1 is drawn uniformly at random from S1. Then S1 and all its factors are removed. Then the new set is S2. Next, an integer S2 is drawn. S2 and all its factors are removed. Then the new set is S3. Finally, an integer S3 is drawn uniformly from the integer S3. What is the probability S1 is equal to 2? So 2, 3, 4, S1 is basically 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. टोटल में कितने टर्म्स है? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. तो S1 is equal to 2, 1 by 8. So if S1 is equal to 2, what will happen? 2 will go, 2 and its factors are removed. Therefore, the set S2 will contain 3, 5, 7, and 9. Okay. Three, 5, 7, 9. Okay. फिर S2 is equal to 3. 3 out of these 4. तो 3 गया, तो 3 का multiples भी गया. 3 and 9 both gone. S3 now becomes 5 and 7. Okay. S3 now becomes 5 and 7. तो अब S3 is equal to 5 is one of the two. So S1, 2, S2, 3, S3, 5. These are the probabilities. 1 by 64. 8 into 8, na? Answer. Namisha, I hope this answers your question. तो ये हो गया this one. Okay. Avinash, question number 9 and 10. 2021. I think one of them is a linear algebra question जो थोड़ा difficult है and a little out of syllabus, तो वो आप skip कर सकते हैं question. 2021 PEA. Namisha, वो multiple है, but that is what the question is trying to say. क्वेश्चन को देखकर आपको करना होगा. क्वेश्चन नंबर 9 को अवॉइड करें. डिग्री लेस देन और इक्वल टू 2. तो डिग्री लेस देन और इक्वल टू 2 है P. T is a linear transformation. If I were to answer this, चलिए मैं कोशिश करता हूं to explain. So this is ISI 2021 PEA question number 9. Px is a polynomial of degree less than or equal to 2 that have real coefficients. So x into px, if px is exactly 2, x into px will become degree 3 out. Integration will become degree 3 if px is of degree 2 out. T is a linear transformation from v to v if t is defined by. क्यूबिक हो नहीं सकता है ना, यहाँ पर तो डिग्री less than or equal to 2. V be a vector space of polynomials of degree less than or equal to 2. तो V to V है, तो linear transformation cannot convert it into a cubic expression. तो क्यूब के जितने भी ऑप्शंस है उसको तो आउट कर दीजिए. Okay. Linear transformation normally means that addition should hold. So if T is a linear transformation, T of say A plus B should be equal to TA plus TB, and T of some multiple C into Y should be equal to C into T of Y, where C is a constant basically, है ना? Okay, तो ये देखिए x plus px will not satisfy this kind of a linear transformation. Add नहीं हो रहा है ना, this does not satisfy both these conditions. By elimination, this is what we'll get. Okay, but this is not a clean method to solve it. Clean method ये क्यों नहीं है? Because यहाँ पर मैंने option से answer किया. I did not go into the linear algebra definition of linear transformation and go in depth into that. If I go in depth into linear transformations, it will take a very long time. Okay, so that in itself is a very complicated topic. ये तरीके से अगर आपको देखना है क्वेश्चन को तो सॉल्व आप कर सकते हैं. ओके, क्वेश्चन नंबर 10 को देखते हैं. ISI 2021 PE देखते हैं. A question number 10. X is a random variable that can take values in 0 to 10. Probability X greater than 5 is less than equal to 2 by 5, less than 1 is less than equal to half. Okay, चलो व्हाइट बोर्ड पे चलते. तो ये इंफॉर्मेशन है हमारे पास में. Less than 1 less than equal to half, greater than 5 less than equal to 2 by 5. So maximum expectation क्या हो सकता है? Maximum expectation. So ये दोनों को satisfy करना है. This is the first constraint. This is the second constraint. ये दोनों constraint को अगर satisfy करना है तो max को देखते हैं. And 5 is less than equal to 2 by 5. So x is equal to 10. क्या वैल्यू? डिस्क्रीट कंटीन्यूअस कुछ बोला नहीं है, so please don't assume कि सर ये तो कंटीन्यूअस है. कुछ बोला नहीं है. If I want to find out maximum expectation, मैं expectation के बारे में बात कर रहा हूँ. Maximum expectation 10 का वैल्यू है 2 by 5, तो ये satisfy हो रहा है. Less than 1 is less than equal to half, तो इसमें कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. 5 का वैल्यू probability 3 by 5. ये पॉसिबल है, दोनों को satisfy कर रहा है. x is equal to 5 will be 3 2 by 5. X greater than 5 less than equal to 2 by 5 satisfied. Less than 1 less than equal to half satisfied. Less than 1 actually 0 है in this case. तो यहाँ पर expectation का क्या वैल्यू आएगा? 5 into 3 by 5 plus 10 into 2 by 5. So 4 plus 3 7. So expectation 7 हो सकता है. There is a possibility. Minimum expectation का क्या वैल्यू होगा वो देखते हैं. X less than 1 less than equal to half. Supposing 0 क्या वैल्यू है half. 0 का वैल्यू है half and 1 का वैल्यू भी है half. ये दोनों को satisfy कर रहा है. Greater than 5 less than equal to 2 by 5. हाँ, greater than 5 तो 0 है यहाँ पे, तो satisfy कर रहा है. Less than 1 is less than equal to half. हाँ, less than 1 का half है, exact half है, दोनों satisfy कर रहा है. Expectation x ये केस में क्या होगा? 0 into half plus 1 into half, which is equal to half, which is basically 0.5. So expectation 0.5 भी हो सकता है at the lowest and 7 भी हो सकता है. So which option will satisfy? कौन सा ऑप्शन satisfy करेगा? ये ऑप्शन greater than equal to 0.5. 0.5 से कम नहीं हो सकता expectation. And less than equal to 8.5. 7 is the maximum, तो 8.5 से तो कम होगा ही. So this is correct. C is correct. C is my answer. C is absolutely correct. C is my answer. ठीक है? ये मैक्स के वैल्यू को देखिए, मिन के वैल्यू को देखिए, you will get your answer. Okay, तो समझ में आ गया आपको? ISI 2021 क्वेश्चन नंबर 10. ISI 2020 PA क्वेश्चन नंबर 11 को देखते हैं। ये जो क्वेश्चन है, दिस क्वेश्चन इज अगेन अ लिटिल डिफरेंट। यहां पर जो मैं आपको बताने वाला है सोल्यूशन, उसमें फ्लॉज हैं, बट दिस इज द बेस्ट वे टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस। ISI 2020 PA क्वेश्चन नंबर 11, G ऑफ GX है ये। GX क्या बोलेंगे? GX इज बेसिकली A, GX की जगह में X लगा दीजिए। ओके, तो GX को लिखा जा सकता है ऐसे। ओके, तो G डैश इज बेसिकली A प्लस B। G डैश इज अ कांस्टेंट। अब ये कांस्टेंट पॉजिटिव है तब ये इंक्रीजिंग होगा, ये कांस्टेंट नेगेटिव है तब ये डिक्रीजिंग होगा। So depending on the sign of A plus B, G will either be always increasing or decreasing. तो either A or B, या तो strictly increasing होगा या strictly decreasing होगा। This is what my answer is. Okay. Actually काफी सारे डाउट्स हैं। Let's go into the next. साद के डाउट में आते हैं। ISI 2006 PB क्वेश्चन नंबर 4। चलिए। Yes, in the last class also you asked me compensating variation and equivalent variation. आज वो दिन आ गया है जब मैं आपका ये क्वेश्चन को सॉल्व करूंगा। Let's go ahead and take a look at that. हाँ जी, so this is what we have. ISI 2006 PB क्वेश्चन नंबर 4। ये क्वेश्चन के सहारे से हम लोग समझेंगे व्हाट इज इक्विवेलेंट वेरिएशन, व्हाट इज कॉम्पनसेटिंग वेरिएशन। क्वेश्चन में पूछा नहीं गया है बट उसको सॉल्व करेंगे। ओके, x into y, suppose income of the consumer is 100, so x into y, consumer 100, so 5x plus 10y. Px goes up to 10, so ultimately this becomes 10x plus 10y. Okay, ये bundle and ये bundle को if I compare, then I'll get the price effect. Assuming Slutsky compensation scheme, estimate price effect, income effect and substitution effect. पहले तो इसको सॉल्व कर देते हैं, उसके बाद में वील कम इनटू कॉम्पनसेटिंग एंड इक्विवेलेंट वेरिएशन। सो साद आपका डाउट क्या था? हिक्स इक्विवेलेंट वेरिएशन। चलिए ठीक है, हिक्स इक्विवेलेंट वेरिएशन भी समझेंगे इससे। तो सबसे पहले तो जनरल केस को लेते हैं। मैं शॉर्टकट यूज कर रहा हूं। ओके, आई एम नॉट गोइंग इनटू द लेंथी प्रोसीजर ऑफ फाइंडिंग आउट अ कॉप डगलस। 1/2 इंटू मनी इनकम बाय प्राइस, तो यहाँ पर 10 आ जाएगा। 1/2 इंटू मनी इनकम बाय प्राइस, तो ये 5 आ जाएगा। ओके, सो वी स्टार्ट विथ 10,5। स्लट्सकी कॉम्पनसेटिंग, सॉरी स्लट्सकी compensation से we need to find out the substitution effect. Original bundle exactly affordable at the new prices. नया प्राइस क्या है? X का प्राइस becomes 10, तो स्लट्सकी का इनकम क्या होगा? प्राइस मल्टीप्लाइड बाय क्वांटिटी प्लस प्राइस मल्टीप्लाइड बाय क्वांटिटी। ओके, तो 150 आ जाएगा। सो स्लट्सकी का बंडल निकालने के लिए 150 इज इक्वल टू 10x प्लस 10y। स्लट्सकी का इनकम एट द न्यू प्राइसेस। यूटिलिटी तो सेम ही रहेगा, राइट? तो x फॉर स्लट्सकी केस विल बी अगेन 1/2 इंटू मनी इनकम बाय प्राइस। ये क्या आएगा? 7.5। ys will also be 1/2 into money income by price, ये भी 7.5। तो यहाँ पर द बंडल वाज 10,5, सब्स्टिट्यूशन इफेक्ट का बंडल होगा 7.5 7.5। ओके, एंड इनकम इफेक्ट के लिए वी कम बैक टू द ओरिजिनल मनी इनकम एट द न्यू प्राइसेस। तो ये केस में इनकम इफेक्ट या फाइनल प्राइस इफेक्ट xi is income effect 1/2 into money income by price, 1/2 into money income by price. So this is what we get. So a movement from 10,5 to this is my substitution effect, and this movement is my income effect, and the entire 10,5 say 5,5, this is my price effect. This is my substitution effect, this is my income effect. This is what the question was asking. ये अगर आपने कर दिया then you would have got full marks. साद अब आपका क्वेश्चन है कि how to find out the Hicks का equivalent variation. Now compensating variation का मतलब है going back to the old utility at the new prices. Equivalent variation का मतलब है new utility at old prices. ठीक है? And you are telling me to find out for Hicks का equivalent variation. Okay, so for the equivalent variation, new utility at the old prices. So new utility मैं क्या अचीव कर रहा हूं? न्यू यूटिलिटी जो मैं अचीव कर रहा हूं बाय हिक्स इज एज फॉलोज. अच्छा ठीक है, मैं आपको डायग्राम से दिखा देता हूं. सपोजिंग this is my x, this is my y. ये मेरा ओरिजिनल बजट लाइन है और मैं कुछ यहां पर कंज्यूम कर रहा हूं x is equal to 10. अब price of x increases and my new budget line becomes the green budget line. Okay? fact 10 पे ही एंड होगा. ओके ये एंड हो रहा था 20. तो अर्लियर द पर्सन वाज कंज्यूमिंग हियर, नाउ द पर्सन इज कंज्यूमिंग हियर. ओके तो यहां पर एक यूटिलिटी आ रहा था. आफ्टर द प्राइस fall, this will be the utility. Okay, so the new utility is when the person is consuming 5,5. Okay, ये 5 है, ये 5 है. So x into y is the utility, 25 होगा. And the money income that is dealing with this is 100. ठीक है? Okay. Right. New utility at the old prices. So old pricing is this, something like this. So consumption point will obviously be different, but the utility will be the same. Utility is fixed at 25. ठीक है? तो money income I don't know. Money income, let's take m dash. M dash is equal to old prices, 5 for x, 10 for y. Utility तो मेरा same है, x into y. Okay, so x dash, if I write f x dash is 1/2 into m dash by 5. So ये basically m dash by 10 आता है. Y dash is equal to 1/2 into m dash by 10. ये m dash by 20 आता है. Okay, and the utility is basically m dash by 10 into m dash by 20. M dash square by 10 into 20 is equal to new utility आ रहा था 25. तो 200 into 25, इसको ऐसे लिखा जा सकता है m dash is equal to 50 root 2. Equivalent variation for Hicks will be the money income under new utility at old prices. Okay, the money income under this regime, which is coming out to be 50 root 2 minus the original money income. This is my equivalent variation. Saad, I hope I have cleared your doubt. What is equivalent variation and how to find it? Okay. If it is okay, then please give me a thumbs up. Okay. चलिए ठीक है, तो ये हो गया equivalent variation. Next, काफी सारे doubts आ रहे हैं. Sonia, I have already done those questions, I believe. ISI 2020 question 19 and 18. Vasumita, चलिए ठीक है. (18) is an incorrect. Acha, 18 is an incorrect question. Okay. 19 ठीक है. 19 मैं आपको दिखा देता हूँ. This is ISI 2020 PEA question number 19. Suppose the capacity curve for each laborer is described as follows. For all payments up to 100, capacity is 0, and then begins to rise by 2 units for every additional dollar paid. This happens until the payment rises to $500. Thereafter, an additional dollar payment increases work capacity to only 1.1 units until total income is up to $1,000. At this point, additional payments have no effect on work capacity. Assume all income is spent on nutrition. Suppose you are an employee faced by the above capacity curve of your workers. You need 8,000 units of work or capacity units. How many workers would you hire and how much would you pay each worker so that you get 8,000 units of work at minimum cost? Okay. This question actually reminds me of another question, which we have already done. Okay. I think we did it in the first class when I taught you production function. Okay. Question does this remind you of? Put it in the chat box. Also solve this. I'm at DSE 2012 question number 25. It's very, very similar to this. Okay. Can you see that DSE 2012 question concept has come in ISI 2020? That is this year's ISI. Okay. So please, if you are focusing on ISI, so what do you think the answer for this will be? Put your answer in the chat box. Come on, do it quickly. Right. So how will the productivity look? So productivity or the working capacity is equal to 0 if wage rate is lower than 100. It's equal to 2 multiplied by W minus 100 when W lies between 100 and 500. It's 1.1 into W minus 500 plus at 500, what is the working capacity? 500 minus 100 multiplied by 2, which is 800. So plus 800. This will lie between 500 to 1000. Constant thereafter. So after 1000, what is the working capacity? Put 1000 here. 500, 550, 550 plus 800, 1350 for any wage rate greater than 1000. Right. So this is the productivity. This is how you write down how much is the productivity given what interval of W. Okay. So now if I want 8,000 units of work, if you go by options, you can also go by options. If 5 workers, each of them is paid 5,000. Each of them is paid 1,000, so total is 5,000. And if a worker is paid 1,000, what is the capacity that the worker will have? It's 1350. So 5 workers, 1350 will not even add up to that much. 6750. It's lower than 8,000 that is required. So obviously this is not the answer. 10 workers at 500 per worker. Each worker paid 500 will give me a capacity of 800. Okay. So 10 workers at 500 will be 5,000 as the cost and it will give me 8,000 units. The other two options is more cost. 10 workers at 700 is obviously higher than 10 workers at 500 and 15 workers at 400 will also be $6,000, which is obviously higher than option C. Answer is C. You can go by options also if you understand the productivity in this particular fashion. Okay. Okay. So that was that question. Sonia, some of them are available on YouTube as well. 4, 8, and 9. Okay. 2020 PEB or PEA? Which one are you telling? There's no 4, 8, and 9 in PB. Group A 1, 2, 3, Group B 1, 2, 3, Group C 1, 2, 3. Anyway, R Kumar 2011 question number 8. चलिए ठीक है. चलिए कोशिश करते हैं to do this.
ISI 2011 question number 8. F and G have the same domain and the codomain. The domain and the codomain are the set of all non-negative real numbers. Okay. 0 to infinity, 0 to infinity. F is a decreasing function. So I can say that f dash is less than equal to 0. G is an increasing function. That means that G is greater than equal to 0. Define hx is equal to f of gx. Okay. The key to the problem will be to find out what will be the derivative of h. Okay. Use chain rule and tell me what can be said about the sign of the derivative of h. So h dash, is it positive? Is it negative? What is the sign of that? And if you find out the sign of that, you will now know whether h is decreasing or increasing, and then put in the definition of a decreasing or increasing function in hx minus h1. That will give you the answer. Okay, make an attempt, everyone. So what can be said about h dash? H dash is f dash into g dash. Chain rule. It's like hx is equal to log of sine x. If I have log of sine x, what do? Firstly, I differentiate for log. So I get 1 by sine x, and then I differentiate for sine, which is cos x. That is what I'm doing here. First function is f. So f dash multiplied by g dash. Okay. F dash I know is negative. G dash I know is positive. Negative into positive will always give me a negative number. That's why I wrote it as less than equal to 0. That means that h is a decreasing function. Till here, is it absolutely clear to everyone? Hx is a decreasing function. Raise your hand if this is okay with you. Now, hx is a decreasing function. What is the definition of a decreasing function? The definition of a decreasing function is ha minus hb will be less than equal to 0 if a is greater than equal to b. As simple as that. F dash is negative from here, Abhishek. I have already shared this. F is decreasing function. Therefore, ha minus hb is less than equal to 0 for a greater than equal to b. Correct? Therefore, I can say hx minus h1 will be less than equal to 0 if x is greater than equal to 1. Hence, what do we have? Hence, here we have answer A. It's non-positive for x greater than equal to 1, positive otherwise. Okay.
So that is how we solve this. Okay. Next question. Macro questions we'll come to at a later time. I'm just taking a look at the next one. Okay. Group B, question number 3. Okay, Lavanya, I'll come to yours in a while. Himangi, ISI 2020, question number 28. Okay. Let me open it. This is a macro question. I'll come to macro in at a later time. Ma'am will join us in some time and she'll take care of all your macro doubts together. Jazzy, ISI 2020, question number 18. 18 I have just done. 18 is an incorrect question. It's not fully clear. 18 is an incorrect question. 2014, question number 4. Sonia. Okay, let's go ahead and solve this. Right. ISI 2014. ISI 2014. Question number 4A. Consider a monopolist who faces a market demand curve, this, where P is the price, he has a production function which is given by this. This kind of a production function, we can easily find out what is the cost. Cost function will be something like this. Q is equal to L by 2 is equal to K by 3. So cost function is always WL plus RK. Okay. And both are equal to 1 given in the question. So L plus K. L is equal to 2Q. K is equal to 3Q. Cost is equal to basically 5Q. Okay. Find the monopoly equilibrium quantity and price when K bar is equal to 24. Okay. So if I profit maximize 20 minus Q into Q minus 5Q, 20 minus Q square minus 5, sorry, 20 minus 2Q minus 5. So Q is equal to 15 by 2, which is 7.5. If Q is 7.5, L will be equal to 15. K will be equal to 22.5. Okay. Now, when K bar is equal to 24, find the monopoly equilibrium quantity and price. So when K bar is equal to 24, it is possible Q is equal to 7.5 and P is equal to 12.5. If K bar is equal to 18, then K cannot be equal to 22.5. Then the maximum capital that is possible is only 18. Okay, so maximum capital that is possible is 18. Therefore, maximum quantity that is possible is 18 by 3, 6. Therefore, labor employed will be 12. Okay, so equilibrium quantity is 6, equilibrium price is 14. This is my price, this is my quantity. Okay, this is 4 part A. Okay, sure. I'm giving you time to copy. Solving all the doubts is impossible. I'll try and do as much as I can. Sonia, I hope this is okay. ISI 2020, question number 22. The next parts are basically definitions. So the definitions I'm not doing, you can easily find out the answers on your own. It can be found in any book. Okay. ISI 2020, question number 22. Incorrect question. Inadequate information in the question. Jazzy, ISI 2020, question number 22. Chitrak, ISI 1998, I'm not going in currently. It's not as important right now, given the last few years are much more important. ISI 2010, question number 11, Muskan. 2011, question number 11. Sure.
Number 11.
2011, question number 11. Okay. ओके ये करते हैं, यही क्वेश्चन है. ISI 2011, question number 11. X1 up to Xn are in arithmetic progression, then what can be said about this? तो एक कुछ भी लेते हैं, supposing xn minus 1 plus root xn को ही लेते हैं, इसको rationalize करेंगे. root xn minus root xn minus 1, root xn minus root xn minus 1. तो ये न्यूमरेटर तो हो जाएगा, ये denominator will be a plus b into a minus b, so xn minus xn minus 1. Now x1 up to xn are in ap, that means x1 x2 xn सबके बीच में डिफरेंस है d, कॉमन डिफरेंस है ना, तो xn minus 1 and xn के बीच में भी डिफरेंस इज d, तो इसका लिखा जा सकता है 1 by d into this. Now if you take a look at the answer pattern में डिनोमिनेटर में रूट xn प्लस रूट x1 है, तो यहाँ पर हमारे पास तो ये है, तो what should I do? I should basically चलिए ठीक है, ये एटलीस्ट आ गया. ओके, सो व्हाट शुड आई डू विद दिस एक्सप्रेशन? दिस एक्सप्रेशन में सबसे पहला टर्म विल बी 1 by d root over x2 minus root over x1 plus 1 by d root over x3 minus root over x2 plus dot dot dot. Last term will be 1 by d root over xn minus root over xn minus 1. ठीक है, this is what I will get. what I'll notice is all these intermediate terms will cancel out. Okay. And ultimately what I'll get is 1 by d root over xn minus root over x1. ये पूरा summation का answer will be something like this. Okay. ठीक है. ओके. ठीक है. तो ये आया. अब ये तरीके में तो इसको रखना नहीं है, तो इसको वापस फैक्टराइज करेंगे. वापस फैक्टराइज का मतलब व्हाट विल आई डू इज आई विल मल्टीप्लाई बाय रूट ओवर xn प्लस रूट ओवर x1 डिवाइडेड बाय रूट ओवर xn प्लस रूट ओवर x1. तो a माइनस बी इंटू ए प्लस बी वापस आ गया. तो 1 बाय डी xn माइनस x1 बाय रूट ओवर xn प्लस रूट ओवर x1. ओके. अब xn can be written as nth term is a plus n minus 1 into d. So xn minus x1 will be n minus 1 into d. So this is basically n minus 1 into d divided by d into root over xn plus root over x1. ये cancel out हो जाता है. Ultimately, this is my answer. N minus 1 by root over xn plus root over x1. N minus 1 है. Answer is none of these. Muskan, I hope this is okay. Okay. Next, Lavanya is asking PB Group B question number 3. चलिए ठीक है. So this is ISI 2020. Group B question number 3. Consider a money lender who faces two types of potential borrowers. So this is the money lender. Okay. And he faces two types of potential. First type of borrower is called the safe type. The other is the risky type. And each of the borrower needs a loan of the same amount L. So they need a loan of L each. Okay. The borrower can repay only if the investment produces sufficient returns to cover the repayment. Suppose that the safe type is always able to repay with a secure return of R, which is greater than the loan. So the safe type has a return of R. Whereas the risky type is an uncertain prospect. He can obtain a higher return R dash, but only with a probability P. So probability P R dash, and with probability 1 minus P, his investment backfires and he gets a return of 0. So 0 return with a probability of 1 minus P. Okay. There are two of them. One is the risky type, one is the safe type. So there are only one individuals of each type. Each borrower knows his own type, but the money lender does not know the borrower's type. The money lender does not know by looking at a person whether the person is a safe type or a risky type. Okay, he just knows that one is a safe type and the other is a risky type. Since the money lender has enough funds to lend to just one applicant, when both the borrowers apply for the loan, he gives the loan randomly to any one of them, say by tossing a coin. So the money lender actually decides with a probability of half the money to any of the two individuals. So if you are the money lender, there are two individuals in front of you. One is a safe type, one is a risky type, but you don't know which one is which. So you toss a coin and you give the loan randomly to any of them. Okay. Assume that the lender supplies the loan from his own resources and the opportunity cost is equal to 0. What is the highest interest rate, call it IS, for which the safe borrower will want the loan? What is the highest interest rate IR for which the risky borrower wants the loan? Who is willing to pay a higher interest rate, the risky borrower or the safe borrower? So that is part A. Okay, so let's go on the whiteboard in order to do this. So what is the highest interest rate IS for which the safe borrower wants the loan? What is the highest interest rate IR for which the risky borrower will want the loan? Who is higher interest? Okay. Okay. So what are we supposed to do? We are supposed to find out what is the highest interest rate. Highest interest rate IS that the safe person will be willing to pay. Okay. So the safe person can expect a return of R by taking the loan of L. Okay. Each of them is taking a loan of L. Now, the highest interest rate that the safe person will be willing to pay is when the return is exactly equal to whatever he needs to repay to the money lender. So the highest interest rate will be 1 plus IS into L. So 1 plus IS into L is the amount that he needs to repay to the money lender. If that is exactly equal to the return, right, that will give me the value of IS. Simple. So what will this be? 1 plus IS is equal to R by L, and IS is equal to R minus L by L. So this is my highest interest rate that the safe person will be willing to pay. So now for the highest interest rate for the risky type is very similar. R dash is the highest interest, is the return that he will get. The highest interest rate is when this R dash is equal to this. Please understand, if he gets a return of 0, then he repays absolutely 0. Okay. So you don't have to consider this case. The highest interest rate that the risky person will be willing to pay is when we equate this. So what is this? 1 plus IR is equal to R dash by L, or IR is equal to R dash minus L by L. Obviously, the riskier person will be willing to pay a higher interest rate than the safe person, because the project can give me a higher return. Okay. Okay. Now, it is given in the question that R dash is greater than R. Please take a look at the question. R dash is greater than R. It is given to us that the return of the risky person is higher than the return of the safe person, which is very logical as well. If I know that I need to go in an investment where I can actually lose the entire money, obviously I'll be willing to take that risk only if the return is higher than the safe. Okay. So here, obviously, since R dash is greater than R dash minus L will also be greater than R minus L. Therefore, this implies that interest rate of the risky person will obviously be higher than the interest rate of the safe person. Correct? Since the return of the risky person is also higher than the return of the safe, obviously the highest interest rate that the risky person will be willing to pay has to be higher than the highest interest rate that the safe person will be willing to pay. Simple. That's the first part. This is part A. Part B. The lender's objective is to maximize his expected profit. Argue clearly that the lender's effective choice is between the two interest rate, IS and IR. That is, argue that the lender will not choose any interest rate lower than minimum of the two, any interest rate strictly higher than max of the two, or any interest rate between IS and IR. Okay. So basically, we need to argue that the money lender will actually choose either an interest rate IS or IR, not lower than this, not between the two, not higher than this. Okay. So let's go on the whiteboard and see. Okay. So supposing you are the money lender and you fix an interest rate I. Okay. So what is your expected payoff, or what is your expected profit? Okay. When you actually decide an interest rate I, you announce it to both the borrowers, and then both will say whether they want to go for the loan or not. One is the risky type, one is the safe type. So if both of them say, yes, we want to go for the loan. Okay. If you are a money lender, you go out and you announce an interest rate I, and both the people, the safe type and the risky type, they will be basically telling you whether they want to go for the loan or not, because they exactly know the return. They exactly know what is IR and IS. The safe type will only go for the loan if the interest rate is less than equal to IS. If the interest rate is higher than IS, the safe type will say that I don't want to go for the loan. Okay. We already know this. IS is less than IR. Okay. Now, supposing the money lender is announcing the interest rate and say yes, they want to go for the loan. So the money lender tosses a coin with half probability. The loan goes to the safe person. So if the loan is going to the safe person, the return is basically 1 plus I into L minus the loan that I paid. Okay. This is what will be the profit if the loan goes to the safe person. And if the loan goes to the risky person, with probability P, the return will be 1 plus I into L
and with probability 1 minus P, the return will be equal to 0. And in any case, I'm paying a loan of L. Okay. So half into IL plus half into PL plus PIL plus L. Okay. So half IL plus half L, P plus IP minus 1. Okay. So this is my profit as a money lender if both of them have actually decided to go for the loan. When will both of them decide? If the interest rate is less than equal to IS. Okay. Am I understandable? Only if the interest rate is less than equal to IS will this happen. Now, the profit equation is increasing in I. That is, higher the interest rate I, higher this the profit. You can see it by also at a logical perspective. My entire profit is based on the interest that I get. So the higher the interest, the higher will be my profit. Okay. So the highest interest rate that I can actually charge given this profit is IS. Correct? So in the range of I less than equal to IS, I will choose the interest rate as IS. I will not choose any interest rate lower than IS because IS will give me the maximum profit. Any interest rate lower than IS will give me a lower profit. Correct? Therefore, from here I have proved I will not choose I less than minimum of IS comma IR. So the first part of the problem is done. I will never choose an interest rate lower than the minimum of the two. Now, what if the interest rate is greater than IS? If the interest rate is greater than IS, then the safe person will say, no, I don't want the loan. Understandable? Because then the return will be higher. The return will be higher. Amount that he needs to return to the money lender will be higher than the amount that he gets by investing the amount L. Okay. So if I is greater than IS, only the risky person will go for the loan. That too, the risky person will go for the loan if I is less than equal to IR. Greater than IR, none of them will go for the loan. So between IS and IR, the profit will look like only the risky person will say yes. So the risky person with a probability P will give me a return of 1 plus I into L. With a probability of 1 minus P will give me a return of 0. And he is taking a loan of L, so I need to subtract L. Correct? So this is what the return will be. PL plus PIL minus L, which is, if I take L common, 1 plus I into P minus 1. This is my profit if I is between IR and IS. Now, this is also increasing in interest rate, obviously, increasing in I. So I should choose an I which is equal to IR, okay, which is greater than all I, greater than IS. Okay, I should choose an interest rate that is equal to IR. That is the maximum interest rate that I can charge given this profit equation. Again, the same logic. My return as a money lender is on the interest that I can charge. So if I am lending to either the safe type or the risky type, if interest rate is less than equal to IS, I should be choosing the interest rate equal to IS. Similarly, if the safe person says, no, I don't want to take the loan because the interest rate is higher than IS, then the profit equation will look like this. And I will be charging an interest rate that's equal to IR if this happens. Okay. Now, if this basically proves that I will never have any interest rate between IS and IR, this will not happen. This will not happen. Sorry, this will be I. Okay. Because maximum interest rate that I can charge is IR. So this should not happen. So the second part of the problem is also proved. And obviously, if my interest rate is greater than max of IR, IS, which is equal to IR, then my profit is equal to 0 because both the risky type and the safe type will say, I don't want to take the loan. I don't want to take the loan. Okay. So this will also not happen. So the third part is also proved. So what will you decide? You as a person, you as a money lender will see whether IS is giving me a higher profit or IR is giving me a higher profit and accordingly set the interest rate IR or IS. Is this understandable? If the interest rate that I charge is less than equal to IS, both the borrowers will be showing an interest to go for the loan. Therefore, I have a profit payoff like this. And since it is increasing in I, you should be charging as much interest rate as it is possible. So the threshold is IS, so you charge IS interest rate. Okay. Similarly, in the second part, the second profit equation will happen if you charge an interest rate between IS and IR. Okay. And again, it is an increasing function in the interest rate. So you should be charging highest interest rate, which is possible. That is IR, which is the highest interest rate. Okay. Anything higher than IR, you will get a profit of equal to 0 because none of the risky or the safe type will want to go for the loan. Okay, so now your decision whether you should be charging IS or IR depends on the value of the profit. So whenever the profit is higher, you will be choosing that interest rate. Okay, as simple as that. This is part B. Now take a look at part C. So part C is actually a subpart of B. Argue that the lender charges IR.
I think this forms the basis of the entire question, Lavanya. See, the only issue with these questions is that it becomes very lengthy in the PEB part. It becomes extremely lengthy. So this basically sets up the entire question very well. So I hope that you will be able to continue on and be able to solve the remaining. Okay, so that is what we'll end this question with. Now I have only one or two questions that I can take in terms of the bandwidth, and then I'll call in Mahima ma'am in order to continue with the session. So one question that many of you are asking is this one, ISI 2021 PB question number 1. Okay, so let me solve this and then I'll hand it over for macroeconomics to Mahima ma'am. Okay. So let's begin and solve this particular question. This is ISI 2021 PB Group A question number 1. So let f be a continuously differentiable function which has at least 3 distinct zeros. We say that x is a 0 if fx is equal to 0. Let g be defined as gx is equal to e to the power of x by 20 of x. Prove that g has at least 3 distinct zeros. It basically means that they are telling you to say or find out if fx has 3 roots. Distinct zeros is 3 roots, at least 3 distinct roots. Gx also has 3 distinct roots. They are telling you to prove that in the first part. Prove that the function f plus 2f dash has at least 2 distinct roots. Okay. So let's go ahead and try to prove this. So gx is equal to e to the power of x by 2 into fx. It is given to us that fx has 3 distinct zeros, that is fx is equal to 0 for 3 different values of x. Now gx is equal to 0 when e to the power of x by 2 into fx is equal to 0. Now e to the power of x by 2 is never equal to 0. Therefore gx is equal to 0 whenever gx is equal to 0 when fx is equal to 0, right? Therefore if f has 3 distinct zeros, so does gx, because gx is equal to 0 for exactly those values of x for which fx is equal to 0. Therefore if fx has 3 distinct zeros, gx will also have 3 distinct zeros, right? So the first part had to prove that gx also has 3 distinct zeros. Proved. Part 2, I need to prove that f plus 2f dash has at least 2 distinct zeros. Okay, this is what we need to prove. Now gx has 3 distinct zeros. That means something like this. This is my line. 3 distinct zeros is a case something like this, jahan par 3 values of x for which it is equal to 0. Please notice that if I have 3 values at which I get a particular function to be equal to 0, between 2 zeros I'll get one value such that g dash is equal to 0, and I'll get one value such that g dash is equal to 0. So between two roots, I get 1 g dash is equal to 0. Between two other roots, I get 1 g dash is equal to 0. This is also by, I think, the mean value theorem. Mean value theorem states that f dash is equal to fb minus fa by b minus a. Now, if I have fb is equal to fa is equal to 0, that means f dash will be equal to 0 in between a and b. Is this understandable? So f dash is fb minus fa by b minus a. If fb and fa are both equal to 0, I call this a, I call this b. If fa and fb are both equal to 0, then between a and b, I will have at least one derivative where the value will be equal to 0. That is what I meant. Okay. So if g has three distinct roots, g dash will have at least two distinct roots. So all of this is basically to prove that if g has at least three distinct zeros, g dash will have at least two distinct zeros. Okay. Now, why is this important? You'll understand why am I saying this. So g is basically e to the power x by 2 into fx. Okay. Now g dash will therefore be this is e to the power of x by 2 into f dash plus f into 1 by e to the power x by 2 into 1 by 2. Okay. So e to the power of x by 2, if I take common, f dash plus f by 2. This can be written as, if I take half common, 1 by 2 e to the power of x by 2 will be f plus 2 into f dash. Very interesting. So I know that g has three distinct zeros. Therefore, g dash will have at least two distinct zeros. That is, g dash will be equal to 0 for at least two values of x. Now, g dash is equal to 0 will imply f plus 2 f dash is equal to 0, because again e to the power of x by 2 is not equal to 0. Very interesting. So g dash has at least two roots. Therefore, f plus 2 f dash will also have at least two distinct zeros. Proved. So पार्ट ए को मैंने प्रूव कर दिया यहाँ पे, पार्ट 2 को मैंने प्रूव कर दिया ऐसे. I hope this is understandable. If it is understandable, then please give me a thumbs up. Vidhi Demonk. Okay. Right. Okay. I know that there are many more doubts. Let's now tackle the macroeconomics part. Let me send in ma'am. She'll take care of the macro part. Okay. So just give me some time. I'll just send in ma'am and she'll be able to help you out with the macroeconomics part. Yes, so this session is being live on YouTube. So you'll be able to see this entire session on YouTube. Okay. Let me send in ma'am and she'll take care of your doubts.
Hello, everyone. All right, so hi to those who don't know me, I'm Mahima, and I can help you a little bit with macro right now. So whatever doubts you have for macro, whatever I can solve in the time that I have, I would be happy to do that. So can you please share your doubts in macro? Okay, the first question coming in is 2014 PEB question 8. Can you solve 2018 PEA question 7 ISLM? Yeah, sure. So let me start. I'll just check what is 2014 PEP question 8. Just give me a minute. Yeah, I can do this one. I can so let me show you the question first. This is the 2014 PEP question 8, and what I can do right now is just briefly explain how to do this question. Okay. So let's go over the question first. So the question says that in an ISLM, graphically compare the effect of an expansionary monetary policy with an expansionary fiscal policy on investment in the short run, the medium run, and they specified what the medium run is, which is that the aggregate supply curve and demand curves adjust. And that would pretty much mean that it is upward sloping supply curve and downward sloping demand curve, because that's the only way the two of them adjust. Okay, so that's the medium run. And assume that investment is a function of both investment interest rate and output. Interest I is the interest rate and y is the output. Investment is negatively related to interest rate and positively related to output, under which policy is the investment higher in the medium run. So to solve this question, we basically have to do two things. We have to compare the short run and the medium run fiscal and monetary policies, right? So we'll actually need 4 diagrams for this. So I'll quickly do it. Okay, so then what we can draw here is we can the first diagram can be for ISLM. The second one can be for ADAS. Okay, so both the cases. So ISLM will have an IS and the LM curve. So we'll first compare for the short run. Okay, so as I said, we'll have 4 diagrams. One will be for short run. 2 diagrams will be for, we'll have 8 diagrams actually. So these 4 are for the short run. So this is short run. This is also short run. But the first one will be for fiscal policy. This one will be for monetary policy. Okay. So in the short run, how does the aggregate supply curve behave? The aggregate supply curve is horizontal, right? And the aggregate demand curve is downward sloping. That's my starting point for the short run. Okay, so let's mark the curves. This is IS, this is LM. This is equilibrium I and equilibrium income. This is the aggregate supply curve. This is the aggregate demand curve. Same notations here, because we're going to compare the fiscal with the monetary policy, right? Okay, so now the only difference in the short and the medium run would be, so I'm just doing the short run and you can do the medium run yourselves. Okay, or I'll do that too. Or let me make this diagram for medium run so that the difference can be explained easily. So in the medium run, basically the aggregate supply curve is upward sloping and the aggregate demand curve is downward sloping. That's the difference in medium run. So let's change this to medium run. Okay, and in the medium run, aggregate demand is downward sloping, aggregate supply is upward sloping. So with this in mind, we can solve that question. Okay, so if you're talking about an expansionary fiscal policy, that would pretty definitely mean that the IS curve shifts out. Okay, so if the IS curve shifts out, then you have a new interest rate and output level. Now, by the magnitude of this shift in Y, the AD curve shifts. And the analysis ends here because there is no change in prices. The prices are constant, this being the short run. Okay, so this is the final thing. Now, if the same thing, if I had to do the same thing for same fiscal policy in the medium run, then let's see how that would pan out. So for the medium run, we would also have the IS curve shifting out. Okay, same thing. Interest rate rises, Y rises. The same effect first. This is the magnitude of the shift of the AD. So AD curve will shift by this magnitude. Okay, so till now both the curves are the same. But what happens here is you see that there is a different equilibrium. This is E0 and E1 in the ISLM, but the equilibrium in the ADS is at another point. And the reason for that is that price rose. Okay, so in the medium run, price will rise. In the short run, price did not rise. So what we'll do is, because of the price rise, the LM curve has to shift, right? So we'll take this, we'll mark this output level. Okay, let's mark this output level as Y2. We mark this output level, and if the LM curve shifts back, it must shift back in such a way that the new equilibrium is at Y2, LM1. Okay, so in the short run, price is fixed. In the medium run, price is increasing. In the short run, the ISLM equilibrium was enough to show the final equilibrium. But in the medium run, the increase in prices causes the LM curve to shift. And finally, you are at a higher interest rate and a lower output level than the short run. So if you're just comparing, so just to compare fiscal policy in the short run and fiscal policy in the medium run. So in the short run, you had a certain increase in I and a certain increase in Y, right? So it went from, let's say, I0 to I1, I0 to I1. But in the medium run, so this was I1 and Y1. But in the medium run, interest rate is at I2. So interest rate is higher than before. Output is Y2. Let's call this Y2. Y2 is less than Y1. So output is lesser in the medium run. Interest rate is higher in the medium run. So definitely investment is going to be lower in the medium run compared to short run. Okay, so this is the kind of analysis that you can do for both fiscal and monetary policies. All right, Vasumita, is this okay? Can you do the same analysis for the monetary expansion also? Okay. Next question that I have from Daksh, and that is, can you please solve 2018 PEA question 7 ISLM? So let me first find the question. Uh, 2018 PAA, I don't see it to be an ISLM question. It's a monopsony question, Daksh, what I can see. So this would be better done by Sir, because he was here to take micro questions also. So it's, I can just show you the question that I have on screen and you can tell me whether that's the question you had in mind. This is the 2018 paper as stated by you, and this is question number 7, sorry. I got 18 and 18. Wait, 7. I have question 7 as a Kurno question. So I'm not sure which question you're referring to. Let me check which is the ISLM question in this paper. I think it must be question number 22. Functional form is given of the ISLM equation. Oh, this one? I think that's the last question. Could you please check, is it the question that you can see on the screen? This is the only question that is of ISLM and has a functional form to it. Yeah, this is the question on loanable funds. Yeah. I don't honestly remember this question very well right now, but I'll try to solve it with you here. Consider a macroeconomy defined by the following equations: M is equal to KPY plus LR. So in this theory of loanable funds, it is the by the demand and the supply of loanable funds, it is the interest rates that gets determined and not the interest rate is not determined by money demand and money supply. The interest rate is determined by savings and investment. Okay, savings represented the supply, representing the supply of loanable funds, and investment representing the demand for loanable funds. Output is fixed because this is classical model. So output is fixed at the full employment level, and M is equal to KPY plus LR, where MPY and R represent the money supply, the price level, output, and interest rate, while K and Y bar are positive constants. Furthermore, SR is the savings function, IR is the investment demand function, LR is the speculative demand function. S prime R, I prime R, and L prime R follow the usual notations. An increase in M must do what? Increase P proportionately, reduce P, increase P more than proportionately, increase P less than proportionately. So the interest rate is determined by the savings is equal to investment equation, which means that it is given for the M equation, right? So if I use M is equal to KPY plus LR, the R is constant because it is determined by this, okay, by the equality between the demand and supply of loanable funds. Similarly for Y, the Y is also constant, right? Because it is given by the full employment level of Y. So then the question that is in front of us is an increase in M. So if there is a change in M, so we can, if we just differentiate this, so dm and small k should be given as a constant. Yeah, k is a constant, y bar is a constant. So we have k as also a constant, y bar as a constant, lr as a constant. So this is going to be k bar y bar dp, right? And plus, so this is going to be L prime R bar dr. Now, since R is a constant, dr is going to be 0. So I'm just going to remove this, right? So dm is going to be this. And then what we can do is, to take out proportion, we can divide this by m. We can also divide this by m, right? So this is going to be dm by m is going to be equal to k y bar dp upon what is m? It is k p y bar plus lr bar, right? This is what it is. And then what we can do is, I'll just take this down 1 second. Okay, then what we can do is I'll just write this here. dm by m is equal to k y bar dp. Okay, and this is, let's say, divided by k p y bar plus lr bar. Okay, and then what I can do is, because there is a dp here and I need proportionate changes, so I can divide this by p and I can multiply this by p. Okay, so then this dm by m is equal to kpy bar by kpy bar plus lr bar into dp by p, right? So now what we know is that kpy bar, now we know that kpy bar is obviously going to be less than kpy bar plus lr bar. Let's just check the sign of lr bar. So now the thing is that LR represents speculative demand for money, right? So the last thing in this question is to check that is LR bar positive or negative? So usually when we write the money demand function, it is K let's say ky minus lr. Okay. Now here, instead of ky minus lr, they've given us that this is kpy bar plus some lr. So this function is actually negative because speculative demand for money is negatively related with the money demand. Okay, interest rate is negatively related to money demand. So this function is actually negative. So this can be written as something like this. Something like this. It's a negative function. Okay. Now, if it's a negative function, then the point is that kpy should then be more than kpy minus lr bar. I'm not sure if you understand that, but this is something like this function is negative. Okay, lr bar is negative. You have a positive sign here. Okay, so to make it positive, it should actually be negative here, because this function itself is negative. So two negatives make a positive. Okay, that's why you had the positive here. So so it's just the functional form is just added, but this function is negative. So it is something. So kpy, something subtracted from kpy, means kpy is more than this. Okay, so kpy is more than this. That means the change in income. So this is more than 1. So that means kpy by kpy minus lr is more than 1. That means the change in money is something more than 1, the change in prices, right? Let's go to the options. An increase in M increases P proportionately, reduces P, increases P more than proportionately, increases P less than proportionately. So then we have to choose this answer. So we'll take it to we'll write it the other way around, because we have to find the effect on P of a change in M, right? So if I just clear this up for a minute. So that means dP by P is how much? That is equal to kpy bar plus lr bar by kpy bar into dm by m, right? Cross multiplication. And this kpy bar plus lr, this is less than 1. This is less than 1 dm by m. So prices are going to rise less than proportionately to dm by m. Okay, so prices are going to rise less than proportionately to the change in money. So the answer should be D. All right. Daksh, did you understand that? Okay, the next question that I have is by Himangi, which is ISI 2020, question number 28. Let's see this question. Okay, you're welcome, Daksh. Okay, question number 28 is very simple, Himangi. You just have to see the first order condition in this question. I'll show you the question. In this question, this is the utility function. Okay, this is the budget line. And for the optimal labor supply, you just take out the first order condition. So you can set up the Lagrange, then you do del L by del C, you do del L by del L, and you'll get a condition. That condition will give you the answer to the question. Okay, so it's just using you just need to use the first order condition. That's it. Okay, you do that, you'll get the answer. Okay. Okay, Sonia, 2015 PEB question 6. Oh, 2015, sorry. This one, Sonia, I'm so sorry, I wouldn't be able to do because it's just a very long and mathematical answer. It will take me 20 minutes to just do one part of this. So I would also suggest that you can just skip this one, I guess, if you don't know the answer, because I don't particularly like the question because you don't have any logic in it. You just have to mechanically, do it. So this is not really something that I can attempt right now. ISI 2021 PEA 24. So this is a simple one. ISI PEA question 24. So consider the ISLM model with real interest rate R on the vertical axis, Y on the horizontal axis. Now suppose the central bank chooses R for the economy based on its own assessment. R is equal to R bar. In this case, the LM curve will become horizontal at that point. That's the answer here. It becomes horizontal because the central banks keeps the rate of interest fixed. So if rate of interest gets fixed, that means whatever be the changes in the economy, the central bank would always bring interest rate back at R bar level. So when interest rate is always at R bar level, the LM becomes horizontal at that point. So 24 is simply B. Arvindam. Okay. Siddhant, let me check if what you are asking is something that I can do right now. Siddhant, this one I cannot do. I don't know this one. I couldn't find it in any book because this puts in a concept of learning by doing in the solo swan model. So it's not something that I could find anywhere, unfortunately. This is probably one of the few questions which I can guess how to do it, but I wouldn't be able to be sure. So it wouldn't be right for me to say unless I'm sure of what I am doing. So this one's part C, I'm not. Sorry. I think this is the only question that I have left out of the whole syllabus that I have never done with my students. Part C, I have not done. Uddeshya 2017, question 19. You can have a look. Uddeshya 2017 question 19 is a Harrod-Domar question. That is also something that Sir teaches at Edusure. So you will have to ask me from core macro, because trade and the trade models, the Harrod-Domar model, that's all done by Sir. (2021) PEB 8 part 2. (2021) PEB 8 part 2 I can do. Why might cash deposit ratio and reserve to asset ratio be decreasing functions of the interest rate? So cash by deposit ratio is a decreasing function of interest rate because as interest rate increases, deposits will increase and C by D ratio will fall. So cash to deposit ratio is a decreasing function of interest rate. The second one is the reserve to asset ratio, which is equivalent to the reserve to deposit ratio. And the reserve to deposit ratio in this, reserves are of two kinds. They are the required reserves and they are excess reserves. Okay, so RR plus ER by D. Okay, so when interest rate rises, the excess reserves would fall. Okay, because the banks would not want to keep money with themselves and they would like to loan out more money to earn the higher interest rate. So as the rate of interest rises, the excess reserves fall, which is why the R by D ratio falls, because this and this remain constant. Okay, so that is why as the rate of interest rises, the reserve to deposit ratio falls. So even that is a decreasing function of the rate of interest. And C by D is also a decreasing function of the rate of interest. So that is up till here. How does an interest sensitive money supply affect interest sensitive money supply curve affect the LM curve? Illustrate with a diagram comparing this LM curve with a standard LM curve. And how does this change the effectiveness of counter-cyclical fiscal policy? So this, I think, second part should not be a problem. The second part was fairly easy. You just have an LM curve, which is also dependent on the interest rate. It is interest sensitive. So let's call this R. So the usual LM curve is, sorry, this should not be LM. The usual LM curve is M bar is equal to KY minus LR. This is the usual LM curve. Here, this is MR. So let's make it a function. So let's say something like MR is equal to ky minus lr. Okay, so that means if you take it to the other side, okay, and if you take the slope out, the slope here was, okay, so this is k by l, this is k by l minus m, and l minus m is smaller, so this whole thing is larger, right? Right, so if l minus m is smaller, this denominator is smaller, so the whole scope, the whole slope is larger. So this is a steeper curve than this. It's a steeper curve than the usual LM. So with a steeper curve, you can redo everything and get the answer. Okay, I think this is the last question that I can take because it's already 10 o'clock and we'll have to wrap up now. So the ISI 2020 PEA question 20 and 29. Okay, question 29 is right on your screens. Consider a solar economy that begins in steady state, then a strong earthquake destroys half the capital stock. The steady state level of capital dash the level of output dash on impact, and the growth rate of the economy dash as the economy approaches its steady state. So if okay, I'll just show you the diagram also. This is the usual solar model. And let's say this is del plus nk, whatever. And this is the equilibrium, k star. Okay, strong earthquake destroys half the capital stock. So you move to, let's say, a k naught level. Okay, half of the capital stock is destroyed. The steady state level of capital remains the same because you just move to a lower level and you'll get back there. So that remains the same. So it's either B or C. The level of output dash on impact. So it will decrease on impact. So that is also the same for B and C. The growth rate of the economy dash as the economy approaches its steady state. So as the economy approaches the steady state, okay, what happens to the growth rate? It decreases, right? As it approaches the steady state, the growth rate of the economy doesn't increase, it falls, right? This is basically the growth, the difference between savings and this difference between what you're adding to capital and what is being taken away from capital. So this is growth and this is falling, so this decreases. So that's why the answer is B for 29. Okay, 29 is B. And the last question for the day, we'll do question number 20 from this year. This is a micro question. So again, not equipped to handle. Suppose you were to believe that money illusion exists, that is, as prices and income rise proportionately, then people buy more. Which of the following statements about demand should not be true? I think it should be B, but I can't be sure. I think it should be homogeneous of degree 1. It should not be of a degree 0. But as I said, I don't teach micro these days, so I cannot give you the proper answer for this. Okay, so that's a wrap with this. I hope something somewhere helped. That's our wish. All the very best for ISI. It's a great place. So work as hard as you can in these last few days. I'm sure you all are doing that, and all our best wishes with all of you. Thank you. Take care and bye. Good night.